All right, let us begin. Let us place our awareness in the area of our heart and take slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And just draw in these deep breaths. Make these breaths symmetrical. Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And just feel your body settle in. As long as you place your awareness in the area of the heart, it doesn't matter what thoughts are going through your mind. Just accept them as mere thoughts. And if something triggers you in terms of those thoughts, just take a deeper breath and allow your heart to dissipate those thoughts if they do not serve you. Beautiful. Slow, deep breaths. And visualize them flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. Beautiful. And while you're breathing in this way, I wanted to share with you something that I learned over the weekend. You see, Harvard researchers have understood, or they have researched, they found out that one cannot be curious and anxious at the same time. So if you want to build your life the way you want to build your life, the actual fuel for that is curiosity. When you're curious about something, you now are exploring that area with an open mind. And so curiosity is very important. And what Harvard researchers found out is that if you're anxious, if you're stressed out, you cannot be curious. You're in firefighting mode. So with this little piece of information, ask yourself, if I had to choose between curiosity and anxiety, which one would I choose for my life? And if you choose curiosity, then the breathing technique you're doing right now, and one will practice in about 10 minutes, is the answer to alleviating stress and bringing back that curiosity. Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And settle into that curious state, that wonderment state, that when you look around, you become more curious about the creation, about nature, about your life path. This is the starting point. So breathe in this way throughout the day and maintain your curiosity. Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, everyone. Thank you for all your hellos that you brought forth. I'm noticing that. As soon as I finish loading up the slide presentation for our, I didn't know that moment. I will go back and acknowledge your comments. Okay. So let us go to the chat area for a second. And hello, Brian. Thank you for salutations. Wendy, good morning to you. Natalie, hello from Germany. Brian, again, thank you. Sue, good afternoon to you from UK. Good morning, Janet. Brian, thank you once again. Sue, good afternoon. Good morning to you. Or good afternoon from UK, yes. Nancy, is it chilly in Calgary? Yeah, I know, Nancy, you don't like the cold. Yes, it is kind of cool outside, isn't it? Amber and Adam, good morning. Welcome, Amber and Adam. Wonderful to see you here. Will and Lou, Regina, how are you? Yes, it's a bit chilly to be gardening out there, Will and Lou. All right, so today, our topic for today is enhancing your interactions. And this is about asking open-ended questions. And here's why I think this. So if someone were to say to you, I'm feeling sad, or if they look sad and you go to them and say, are you feeling sad? There's only two answers that can give you, two possible answers. One is yes or one is no, and that is a closed-ended question. And the question ends there because you're guessing now as to how to engage this person. So if you ask a question that only has a yes or a no answer to it, there is no engagement. There is no finding out the richer depths of what's there. And more often than not, when somebody is feeling sad or down or out of sorts, there's a lesson in there for you, because that is why they've come into your field of vision or your radar, is that there's something for you, a message for you. So if you approach life and you approach others and interactions as if there's a message in there for you, then ask open-ended questions, if appropriate. So what kind of open-ended questions would you ask? So if you have any thoughts on that, please type those in. But the open-ended questions, for example, if you see somebody feeling sad and you walk up to them and you say, you know, I've been noticing you. Can you tell me a bit more about what you're feeling right now? Now that opens it up completely, because that person can now decide out of the many things that are going on in their heart, which ones are appropriate to share with you. You're giving that person permission to share with you things that are appropriate for that person, right? You're not guiding that conversation. You're just asking a question out of curiosity. And we just talked about that in our meditation technique. Curiosity is very important. So when you ask that question, tell me more about what you're feeling, now the emotions come out. See, you're not engaging them in their brain, you're engaging them in their heart. And when that feeling comes out, that process is a process of release. For them, they are releasing this emotion by sharing it with you, and you're holding space for them. Imagine the depth of possibilities for this particular individual. You don't even have to jump to a solution mode. As a matter of fact, you should never jump to a solution mode. You should always just listen. And in that purging of that emotion comes the gold for that person. That person will now alleviate himself or herself from that pain of emotion and feel better just by expressing themselves. And that is how you want to engage people in life, because that enhances the curiosity, both yourself and that person. Because when that person responds in that way, that person will actually become more curious about why they're feeling the way they're feeling. Because really, you don't really ask yourself, why? How come I have these emotions? And what caused these emotions? It is only when somebody really asks them to dig down deep and say, tell me more about these emotions you're feeling, then they will realize that, okay, these emotions are up, they're handled, they're dissipated. So this is a healing process. So here are some of examples of open-ended questions you can ask. I ask you to practice this this week, all right? And Nancy, you've got a question. You said these are open-ended questions, and your examples are, why are you feeling sad? Has something happened? I love those examples. And you know what? I tend to say why a lot. Why is that happening? And I learned over this weekend, Nancy, and this is something new for me over this weekend. I learned that saying why actually engages their brain because it gets them into the rationalization of why they're feeling the way they are. So I was asked this weekend never to use why in an open-ended question. And it's very interesting. I'm still getting used to the notion of not using the word, why are you feeling that way? Because the response becomes almost like excuses. I'm feeling this way because this person did this to me. But if I said, the second thing you said, has something happened? That allows that person to say, yes, as a matter of fact, I was in a car accident. You know, I'm feeling bad because my dad is a worrywart, and you know, I can't get a hold of him, and blah blah blah. All those things come out. But if you say, why are you sad? I was in a car accident. That goes back to they're not able to express their emotions. And so, interesting lesson for me, Nancy, was not to use why. So I'm asking you, maybe this week, try not to use why and let me know how it fares. I'm certainly going to do that. I'm going to try that and see what happens. Joel, yes, Joel, you heard the process called active listening. Active listening is basically a reflection of what they're saying in a way that they say it. So if somebody says to you, you know, I'm feeling sad because I got into a car accident. Active listening is saying, oh, it was a car accident, was it? That basically parrots or mirrors what that person's saying to acknowledge that they understood that. So yes, it is actually a small portion of active listening, but what this does is go beyond the active listening. It goes into that, tell me how you're feeling, more about the emotional release than engaging the brain. Thank you. Good conversations. Now we will go, there's a lot more we can talk about this, but we only have given ourselves 5 minutes to do this. So let us go back into our hearts and just take this nugget of wisdom away from for now, and apply it this week. See what happens. See what happens this week. All right. So let us continue on with our next segment, which is the quick coherence technique. In this quick coherence technique, we add one more layer to it. We add the activating, positive, regenerative emotions. So care, appreciation, things like that. So let us begin now. Let us place our awareness in the area of the heart. Take slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. And begin to experience a positive feeling of love, appreciation, peace, gratitude. Bring forward these amazing emotions. Just bring it forward into your heart as you draw these slow, deep breaths. And just visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Slow, deep breaths. And experience these positive feelings. Your body won't know the difference whether you are experiencing something as it unfolds before you, or this is just something that you are imagining. The body doesn't know the difference. So why tell it any different? Feel these feelings, and every cell in your body will begin to respond as if it's happening right now. So if you're experiencing joy, appreciation, gratitude, as you slow down your breathing process, your cells are getting the signals that they don't need to be in that fight or flight mode, that they can begin to repair and rejuvenate, producing more telomerase enzymes so you can slow down the aging process. You can also reverse it. Wouldn't that be nice? Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart, and begin to experience regenerative emotions. Such as love, appreciation, gratitude. Beautiful. Slow, deep breaths. You can put a gentle smile on your face that not only relaxes your facial muscles, but it also signals to your brain to produce more hormones, happy chemicals. Get used to smiling every day. Get used to smiling every day. Even if it's a gentle smile. I used to walk around not smiling much, and people used to tell me, you have to smile more. Try this one day. Make a statement without smiling, and then make that statement while smiling. Just listen to the way the words come out of your mouth, just as you're saying something that's smiling. It's night and day difference. Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. Continue this breathing process as we continue our next segment. I want to thank those who are here for the first 15 minutes. Thank you for joining me. Much appreciated. And if you need to leave, by all means, you may exit. I won't feel bad. If you have any questions, please do type those in. If you want to continue our conversation from earlier, do continue on and type those questions. If there are any questions about any other replays or just life in general, happy to do this. You know, one of the things that I've discovered while you're typing in these questions is that I've been told, because I'm a business coach and I do a lot of reflection, reading. I also have a business coach that helps me line myself up. And I'm told that people, when they make a purchase decision to buy something, of course, and this is Christmas season, so I thought this is a pro. When they make a purchase decision, it's always based on pain. Now, what are your pain points? What are you hurting about? And based on the pain points, you are driven to make a decision. And I would like to see someone come up in a way to inspire you. So what are your inspirational points? What inspires you? And if something inspires you, you will make a purchase decision. And to me, I want you to notice this week. I'd like you to notice this week when you're going to out there and shopping. How many times will you see signs like, this is a 12-hour sale. If you don't buy it now, you will miss out. The pain point is, I will have to pay more later. That's the pain point they're addressing. Buy now. Buy right now. I only have 5 left. There are only 5 left. This is in limited supply. What's the pain point there? I will miss out on something wonderful. Okay, so those are the pain points, and you will see that. Notice that. Notice when somebody out there is actually selling things on pain points, rather than inspirational points. And let me give you an example of something that happened to me. One of my clients that I spoke with on Sunday morning. It was yesterday morning. He called me up. He was part of my 21-day program, and we arranged a session. And he called me and he said, I'm nearly homeless, but I need to understand masculine, feminine balance because God's been talking to me. And so I took him through a visualization process. And I knew he couldn't pay me, and I didn't want any money from him. This was just a discovery session. So it was just you know what, he wanted a coaching session. I couldn't fit him in until January. And then when I found out he was homeless or near homeless, he said, I was struggling. I told him that you probably want to go into my Monday morning espresso shots. But what's interesting here is that when we went through a visualization exercise, and he saw and felt the possibilities, because he was very intuitive. He has a very strong connection with spirit. He began to feel elated, enlightened. He began to feel the possibilities out there because he shared those possibilities with me. And he said to me, I am going to pay you for this session. And I said, no, you're not going to do that. When you have thousands of dollars in your bank account, which I truly believe he's going to get because he is on his way to do this, I said, then you can perhaps call me up and we can set something up and we'll do an exchange. For now, I want you to just hold that vision. But that is an example of an inspirational base, somebody saying, I'm going to make a buying decision based on inspiration. I would like to see more people out there. I would like to see vendors, retailers making those decisions, making the marketing, shifting the marketing to inspirational based. Wouldn't that be amazing? I've got some comments here. Thank you for that. Will and Lou have said, let's see if there's anything else here. Sorry. Yes, Will and Lou, analytical rather than blaming. Thank you for that, Will and Lou. Exactly. Amber and Adam, there was an artificial heart made recently. Would it work the same way as a real heart? I can tell you that it wouldn't. Your feelings and emotions, they're not contained in the heart alone. They're all over the place. I mean, every cell in your body. Your body is very intelligent. If there's an artificial heart, it's not that the whole heart has been removed. It's a heart that is kind of working with the rest of your system. So there's a piece of that is all within you. There's no way that an artificial heart can replace a human heart, because we know this. We know that heart is not simply a pump. Heart has a bigger function, and there's a magnetic field that's generated that has your DNA imprint on it. So I can't imagine anything artificial that does not have the same level of DNA that we do has that effect. So thank you for that question, Amber and Adam. Nancy, when expressing emotions, if your partner jumps right to problem-solving mode, what can I say to take it back to his listening mode? You know, it's a very good question, Nancy. You know, we all do that. We all do that. We jump to conclusion. I'm an engineer. I do that all the time. I'm learning not to do that. And what I would appreciate if I were to jump into the conclusion mode, I would appreciate whoever that is the recipient of my advice to say, I just want you to listen to me. I just want you to hear me out. I'm trying to purge these emotions from my heart, and I need someone to help me draw those emotions out. When I need a solution, I will ask for it. Nancy, you have to be very blunt and very open when you say that. I would appreciate that if I were on the other end of that conversation, rather than me jumping into solution mode. Because what will end up happening, Nancy, and you've probably seen this, that when that person is giving you solutions and you're just not ready for those solutions, then that person gets frustrated, and then you get frustrated. We don't want that. And here's another important part, is when things are calmed down, to engage that person and say, look, you know what? I know what solutions I need to do. Because everyone has a unique approach, a unique context for their problem. You know, I can tell people, here's where I think you've gone wrong, but it's not as powerful as me saying, okay, tell me more about this, tell me why you're feeling. Open-ended questions. If I ask the open-ended questions, then they will come up to their own solutions, and then they will actually internalize that, and they're going to be unstoppable. If you explain that to your partner and say, look, would you mind just hearing me out? Because in that kind of purging of my emotions, my solutions I will arrive at my own solutions. Then you can tell me how to improve upon those solutions, but I need to find my own. I hope that helps, Nancy. Will and Lou, what I learned is that we can gather information by our questions without triggering others or escalating others' emotions. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You know, when you ask questions, they are curiosity questions. They're not challenging questions. They're curious. Wow, how come this is happening to you? Can you share more? And there's a lot more to this. There's more. Then you have to add the appreciation in there. Then you have to add the reflection or the active listening part in there. All right? Wonderful. I love that. Love the engagement. Let's see what else is going on here. Brian, this conversation is perfect timing for my life right now. Tomorrow evening, I'm taking Amtrak across the Straits on a trip to visit Mount Shasta. Oh, wow, Brian. This is going to be amazing. Wonderful, wonderful, Brian. This is where you practice. You know, open-ended conversations will get you connected right away with strangers. I would love to hear more about that, Brian. Send me an email telling me how it went, or share with us next time, okay? Sue, this is very interesting. Thinking back, I can actually relate to the fact that we buy based on pain points. Absolutely, we do. You know, we are a fear-based society. I want to change that. I want you to help me change that. I want you to not fall into that trap. So try at least one thing this week that you can notice about your buying habits and learn more about yourself. All right? And interestingly enough, this is an exercise that if you walk around the mall and you see something and say, I have to buy it, what that does is that you will actually know what your pain points are. You will understand my pain points are, there's a pain point here, that I'm not spending enough time with my family, and this will solve my problem, this particular product. Now you know what your pain points are. Then you can say, how else do I resolve that? So it's a wonderful technique. Thank you. See, you don't need me to coach you. You've got all these external things that are happening. By activating your curiosity, you can coach yourself. Wonderful. Thank you. And Sue has a comment here. Yeah, it is normally something I do not need. You know, it's like, Sue, it's like eating food, right? Whenever we need to reach for comfort, we really don't need to eat food, but we do just for comfort. It fills a gap, it fills a pain point. So whenever you feel like eating and you know you're not really hungry, but you're reaching for it, that's a pain point you're trying to address. So allow the external things and become more curious about why you're doing certain ththings. Wonderful. Will and Lou, Brian and I, Brian, I've been there 7 times. Okay, they're talking about Mount Shasta. Brian, you touched them off on the Mount Shasta thing. I love it. I'm hoping to go there next year too. Thank you. Natalie, that example showed me where I dislike business. I dislike manipulation, and pain sells via manipulation. I want to inspire too. Good, Natalie. I know you're developing a business, or you're really thriving in your business right now, and just getting up there. We are having a session, I think, this week, sometime end of this week, and I look forward to talking about how we can create an inspirational based marketing platform. So I look forward to that. Sue, do we need to be thinking loving or positive thoughts all day to regenerate our trillions of cells? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Sue, the idea here is not to do it all at once, because we have to build up to that. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, think of the Dalai Lama. If he has a sad thought, and I'm sure he does, I'm sure he feels pain, but it doesn't last long. That's the difference between the Dalai Lama and someone like you and I, is that when we feel pain, we kind of sit there for a little while to try and process it, because we don't know how to process it. And when you inject positive emotions, it just dissolves. So what we have to do is practice this every day and have more positive thoughts than the ones that don't serve us. So let's try practicing this, and the breathing technique will certainly help you. Okay? Nancy, oh, wonderful. Once in a while I do hit a button and say something useful, so thank you for recognizing that. Brian, my pleasure, Brian. Gloria, thank you, Shimmer. This is always a good process to practice. Yes, please do that. I don't see any more questions coming through, and we're nearly out of our time. So thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to chatting with you next week.